Great, we're live. So welcome today. Debbie and I are going to be talking about the growth of your business. So this is part one of a three-part series that we thought we would bring to you around grow, profit and exit. So this being the first part of that, we're going to talk about the growth of your business. So you're welcome to join in. There's a Zoom link in the posts there for you to jump on. To the Zoom, so join in the conversation as well if you like. Love to have you on board so that we can be more effective to answering your questions and customising it to what people are interested in talking about and asking questions around, all around the growth of their business. As we, progress through the discussion, it'd be great for you to add on, jump on, or put some comments in the Facebook Live as well. So, Deb, good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here. Love talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course, and it's very easy for us to talk about this. We've lived and breathed this type of topic, and passionate about it as well, and want to help all bookkeepers grow their business, whatever that looks like for them. And I think that's, even one of the important things that we can talk about is, what is it that you do want to grow? So, maybe that's a good place to start. Is we were reading the 7 Habits, and I loved the comment that he does make. And, I didn't realise that he was the one that maybe termed the comment of putting the ladder up on the right wall. So it's really important to know where you are going. So if you are climbing a ladder, which, can be easy or hard, depending on your journey, making sure that it's on the right wall, that you are, wanting to build your business towards the right end game. Let's not spend time on, the wrong type of model or, business.
And that was the book you're referring to, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And he talks about putting first things first. So we talk about growth, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But really, it's looking at, as Katrina said, putting first things first and looking at the end in mind. So as Katrina said, if you don't do that and all you do is grow, then you might be growing a business that you don't love, or you're going in the direction that you don't want to be in. So it's very important to stop and think, what is my end game? Where do I want to be in 5 years' time? Or, and I know we've spoken about vision and things like that, but I think it's an important point to really pause for a minute and bring in to this conversation about growth before we talk about how to grow, because we can give you lots of tips and information about how to grow and the obstacles that you're going to encounter and things like that. But let's talk about first things first. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? That's a really important conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like we've spoken to bookkeepers before. Deb and I have both had these conversations where bookkeepers have come to us and say, we want to grow our business. We want a big business. We want staff. We want an office. We want a lot of clients. We want a lot of services. We want that business that people talk about. They want to grow. They want to put staff on. And as you start to talk to them and have conversations and prompt them into feeling and feeling the emotions around the growth, that they go, well, I only want to grow because that seems to be what you should be doing at the moment. Like, everyone's talking about putting staff on, so maybe that's what I need to do. So I know you've had these conversations too, Deb, with bookkeepers.
Absolutely. And people have actually said, in a way, they want to be Debbie when they grow up, if you like, or Katrina. Katrina's done the same thing as I did, grew her business and sold it. And they think that is, okay, so that's what we should be doing. We should be growing. But I actually, several years ago now, spoke with one of our licensees who was doing the same thing, growing a business. Okay, so I'm going to follow the pattern that Debbie created, and right then I'm this size, this turnover, then I put on my first staff, and she was getting extremely stressed out, was finding that she was growing a business that she wasn't loving. And then when she spoke to me, and I got an idea of what her end game was, which is to have a lifestyle business. She wants to grow a lifestyle business. She actually doesn't want to recruit. She wants to have a business that will travel with her. And I think any of our licensees might recognize the person I'm referring to, our dear friend Robin. And she's created that. So when I spoke to her and said, you know what, we're not saying just because I grew my business like that and because Katrina grew a business like that, we did that because that's what we wanted, because we had the end game in mind, because we knew what we were trying to achieve, and we couldn't do that in any other configuration. So, but when I said to her, I give you permission, you don't actually have to grow a business that looks like mine. We want you, in fact, to grow a business that you love, that suits your personal goals and your lifestyle and what fits in with your plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important, even for those businesses that are already established. So we're not only talking about new startup businesses or newbies that are, in the 50,000 or whatever. The growth can also obviously happen to established businesses. What do they need to grow? How do they need to grow? And that's, as I said, what we're talking about today. And that's also coming back to basics and realizing what that growth is for you. Going through, what we're describing now is really checking in that the growth that you're in the middle of is the right growth. So it's not just startups putting up the ladder on the correct wall. It is those already established that are continuing to grow. I know for myself, I knew when I was having growth spurts, and for businesses, established businesses, they probably also know when they're having a growth spurt. And clients are coming when there's a bit of activity, there's a bit of capacity, we're going through a growth period, then let's take advantage of it. But, what we're doing is saying, stop, think about where you are at the moment, what you're trying to achieve, and just go back to visiting those feelings, writing it down. What is your ideal client? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Doing that planning exercise. So that's the step one around.
And the other metaphor that I like to use when start with the end in mind is if you were planning a holiday and you get all the family involved and you say, yes, we're going to go on a road trip. So you spend weeks preparing for the road trip, you pack all the bags, you get all the gear in the car, it's loaded up, you put the kids in the back and you start driving, but you actually don't have a destination planned. So you are driving and you can spend weeks driving and not actually getting anywhere. You stop at different places and you go, well, that was nice. Or no, I didn't like that place. Oh, look, we've stumbled across this place. But there wasn't actually a plan in mind. And you could literally be going around the block or going around in circles and find yourself back home again because you didn't actually have a destination planned. So it's really important that you stop and think about what is your destination. When do you want to get there? You're driving from Melbourne to Queensland, or are you going over to Western Australia, or are you going to Northern Victoria or somewhere in regional areas in other states? So it matters. It actually matters. It will make a complete difference to the conversations you have with prospects, to the marketing that you do, which we're going to be talking about marketing. It makes a difference to every system you put in place, depending on what your end game is. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to spend time thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly. And the second point that we could talk about is around your systems. So before we even talk about, bringing clients on, whether they're new startups to build clients or putting extra clients on, For an established business, you need to have your systems in place to be able to manage those. Your foundations, like, you may already have a $100,000 business. You're about to put a staff member on and continually putting clients on, but does your foundation of your business support the growth of your business? Do you have the systems that are going to allow you to scale? Or are you going to be putting clients on that's just going to make you busier? So what systems do you have in place at the moment? Do you have a mechanism to, get all of the information, scope the client, engage the client, get the relevant information from the client for you to be able to document, so that, when you do scale, that you put a staff member on to, know all of that information?
Yeah.
Do you have your checklists in place to know exactly what you need to do at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year? Or is everything in your head? And we have the classic around this is, knowing exactly what you need to do so that you're not going off on a tangent and doing, the wrong activities for your clients.
Yeah. And if you do decide that you actually, another little tip I would give about with the end game in mind is, maybe you don't know it. Maybe you are starting out and you actually can't kind of envision, which I struggled with as well when I was working with Peter Cook and we were planning my goals and my vision I could kind of get the 1 year goal, but to think out to 5 years, it's a little bit too far out for me. But my advice to you is, even if you don't know at this stage whether you want to put on staff or not, grow your business as if you have made that decision. And what I mean by that is what Katrina just referred to. If you are going to put on staff, you need to have systems in place. You need to have the client-specific instructions for how the bookkeeping is done for each and every client. And you will go to the trouble of making sure you have documented those. If you haven't made the decision to grow, so you're not really sure, I'll make that decision down the track, and you get down the track, you get in 12 months' time and you're turning over $100,000 and you're full up and all your marketing is working really well, but you haven't actually put any systems in place because you didn't plan on having staff. My advice is, from today, grow your business as if you have made that decision. When you're turning over $100,000 and you've got all the systems in place, you can still make the decision not to grow any further. But you've systematized your business. It makes it more valuable. If someone did want to come along and buy your business, it makes it more valuable because you've got all the systems in place. But if you don't, you'll encounter what I encountered, which was I didn't have any documented systems in place. And I got to the point where I needed to recruit, and I'd cleaned up messes left behind. I hadn't documented anything. I hadn't had conversations with clients to say, I'll do your bookkeeping now, but at some time in the future, I'm going to replace myself. It makes it hard. So to make it easy for yourself, if you are starting out, or even if you're turning over 50 or 60 and you haven't done this yet, start now. Start today, making the decision that I'm going to grow my business as if I've made the decision to put on staff. And that means I've got documented systems in place. I've had conversations with my clients to say that at some stage in the future, I will be putting on another staff member. They won't care. In 12 months' time, they're not going to come back to you and say, hey, Debbie, how come you haven't put on a staff member? You told me 12 months ago that you were going to do that. Why aren't you doing that now? They won't remember it, but they will remember it if in 12 months' time you come to them and say, remember that conversation I had with you 12 months ago? Well, the day has come. I've found this awesome bookkeeper. I've got all the systems in place. I can guarantee the quality of the work, and I will train that person and the buck stops with me. So you don't need to worry about that. It's so much easier to transition if you start from today getting your systems in place.
Exactly. And I'd like to add to that, it doesn't even need to be a startup. I've spoken to many people that are 200,000 that have got staff that are working off Excel spreadsheets, that are, everything is still in each of their head because the bookkeepers know the client, know the work, but they still don't have documented client manuals or documented checklists. And it's very easy to build your business on the fly and not put those systems in place. But the beauty of having the systems is if that person or yourself that knows those clients intimately, or really detailed, gets hit by the proverbial bus, or any type of circumstance happens, the staff member leaves, or you want to train the staff up to go up the ladder, up the hierarchy, then you have a system in place that another staff member can come in while that person's on holiday or sick or moving on. The new staff walking in can just take over because they've got documented systems. They've got the client manual, they've got the checklist, they've got history, they know exactly what needs to be done. And this happens for bigger businesses, the $200,000 businesses that are running on the ability, I guess, of, they know what they need to do. It's all in their head, but, circumstances do happen. And for you to be able to scale, systems are so important.
And also they're running on empty. Though the people, we have seen many bookkeepers turning over in that, it's what I call an at-risk group, turning over between even 150 to 250, 300 who are burnt out. And that's because they don't have the systems in place. They've got a lot of stuff in their head. They might have one or two really good staff who have also got a lot of stuff in their head, but they're working like billing out the equivalent of a full-time job and managing staff and doing the marketing and doing the recruiting. They are more reluctant to hand over clients because they don't have the systems in place. There's no client's bookkeeping manual. And they've got a lot in their head. They know they need to hand over. So they're billing out all this time. They're doing work in the business and they're doing work on the business because they have to. They've got to manage the business as well. And it's so common to see bookkeepers burn out at that point because they think, in order for me to double my income, it means I've got to double the amount of hours. There's no more hours. There's no more. I can't, this is ridiculous. It isn't working. I'm going to shut down, or it's just so common to see people downsize and pick a handful of clients or go off and do floristry or something like that. They just completely walk away from it.
And we will talk about the exiting of your business in the series 3, so in a couple of weeks' time. But the systems will also allow you to build a business that is saleable. So one that can sell quicker and for more money. So it is more desirable. So it's really important to start your systems as early as possible because it's going to take you time to work your way through all of your clients. If you've created, a business on the fly, to create those systems for all of those clients. And if you're starting up or, newly in business, then what a great time to start right now so that you can grow with it and scale from the systems that you're setting down right now. The third topic that we're going to talk about is marketing. So now that we know where we're going and we've got the foundations to be able to support your growth, then let's go and get some new clients. So how do we do that? And there are many ways that you can do that. And it's going to depend on where you are in your business at the moment. If you're startups and you don't have a referral source at the moment, or a tribe or a team of accountants that will refer to you as well, then you've got to start networking and creating some content, creating some referral sources pretty much. So I know, Deb, that you actually created a whole lot of marketing ideas and activities for you to be able to bring sources in.
Yeah. The look, I really disliked, that's putting it lightly, marketing, and most bookkeepers don't like doing it. We prefer to, in fact, our number one marketing strategy is do a good job and you'll get referrals from your clients or the accountants or something like that. And it's actually a very effective marketing strategy, but it's not consistent. It's not if you don't create momentum around your marketing, it will be, the growth will be a little bit more ad hoc. It certainly won't be enough when you are starting to put on a team and to feed them as well. You need to create momentum around the marketing, but where you start off is tell everyone that you know. Tell everyone that you know you're open for business, and point them to your website. So your website, you need to have something that's clean and neat and fresh and looks like you. It's a bit like your personality is a reflection of that. Make sure you have in the About You page, it's got your photo on there, have your credentials on there, any BAS agent number and all the different badges that you've got from associations and qualifications that you've got, and make it about you. The other great thing about systems is how they fold in beautifully with your marketing, because when you have your systems in place, you can talk about systems in all your marketing. So on your website, when you are talking to the people that you know, when you're talking to new accountants or accountants that you know, you can talk about the systems that you have created. That's what I talked about and it used to be called the BACK system when I had my bookkeeping business. So it was the name of my business system that I had created. And we use this system to ensure the quality of the work. And so I actually had a whole section in my on my website, and also in my marketing, I created a PowerPoint presentation which talked about the systems that I created, which of course have morphed into the Pure Bookkeeping system. But even before that, before Pure Bookkeeping, these are the systems that I grew in my own business, and they were the systems that I referred to when I was doing my marketing. So it's one of the things we don't like about marketing is we don't like selling ourselves. We feel like when we are saying, hey, look at me, let me tell you how good I am. Just give me 10 minutes and I'll tell you how good I am. No one likes that. So when you've got a system that you can market, when you have got a system that you can talk about, I created these systems in my business to guarantee the quality of the work. What you're saying is essentially, this is me. Let me introduce myself. These are my qualifications. These are the associations that I am part of. I'm a BAS agent and I'm QBO and Xero certified and MyOB certified and whatever else. But let me tell you about the systems that I've created. And these are the systems that I use in my business that all my staff follow to guarantee the quality of the work. It's a huge selling point and dovetails beautifully in your marketing strategies.
Fantastic idea. And a supportive, of exactly what your business is all about, and the professionalism, and that goes a long way. The other marketing activities that you can get into as you are growing your business and have an established business, because we've still got to find new fresh blood, if you like, and it's at times it's hard to get out and network, especially at the moment. And you can connect with the accountants that are already inside of your client. So every one of your client has an accountant. So it's a great place to start, a great place to build relationships. I was actually going through this exercise with a licensee the other day, a mentee, around how to build relationships. And we came up with about 25 ideas of how we can work with an accountant, build that rapport with them, reach out to them, create some exercises or some touch points with them support them. And it's really around communication. So, you've got accountants already inside of your business, if you like, with your clients. So reaching out to them, reaching out to your clients that you already have, and checking in with them if they've got referrals. Certainly getting case studies from them and testimonials from them to put onto your website and showcase the work that you have done previously that you can share around and promote in your social media. Being on social media groups and responding and commenting. So there's a range of activities that you can do to get new clients when you are already established. And also you can certainly do these as startups as well. But especially when you're established, you sort of sit back and just wait for the clients to come in. And, people say that the success of the business is about you putting in some marketing activities to keep that fresh referrals coming in. Like it's a missed opportunity, I suppose. If we just sit back, then we're not doing our business justice by going out and finding some more clients as well. So marketing, although we shy away from it, and I wasn't overly active in my marketing, but learning since then of how important marketing activities are to be able to get those new clients in, and not just waiting for the odd one to come through the door or to find you in different ways. So and creating a system around that so you can actually turn that marketing system on or off as you are needing to find new clients.
Yeah. And if you're starting out and you don't have a network of accountants, or maybe you don't have any clients either, use your own accountant. Start off with, pretty much everyone has one accountant that they know, and one accountant that does their tax returns for them. So go and meet with that accountant, whether that's virtually or whether that's a face-to-face, and tell them that you're ramping up your business. They may not realize that perhaps you were an employee before, but now you've started your own business. Meet with that accountant. And there's one tip I'll give you whenever you are meeting with an accountant is, and you're telling them whether they know you, or they're brand new and you've never met them before, and you're explaining who you are and your qualifications and the systems that you use and all those sorts of things. At the end of the presentation as such, the meeting with them, ask them if they know any other accountants who are having problems finding good bookkeepers. And that was one of the key questions I often got. Not always, it didn't always get a name, but accountants network lots with each other, whether that's virtually or whether that's in conferences and seminars and things like that. And they talk about what's problems and how are you going and what have you done to solve this. Accountants have problems finding good bookkeepers all the time. It's one of their biggest problems they have with bookkeeping. Bad bookkeeping can damage their reputation. When they find a good bookkeeper that's like little gold nuggets, and they hang on to that bookkeeper for as long as possible. But then if that bookkeeper doesn't have systems in place, they fill up. They say to the accountant, I can't take on more work. And so that's the end of that. If you can go to an accountant, whether you've got 1 or 10 accountants that you know, and you can say, I can grow my business because of the systems I have in place. And by the way, do you know any other accountants who are also having problems finding good bookkeepers? Because I'd love to meet with them as well. And aim to get one accountant's name and follow up with that accountant. Because I always got feedback to say, yeah, look, I'm happy to pass your name around to accountants, especially because now I know that you won't fill up. You'll just keep putting on another bookkeeper. So yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I think that summarizes all that we want to talk about around the growth part of this series. So remembering this series is around growth, profit, exit. So in the growth, we've discussed around knowing exactly where you want to go, what type of business you want to build before you then create your systems, so the foundations of your business, so that you can grow your business from that. And then thirdly, reaching out to your network, to your current clients, to your accountants, and other marketing activities to build into your systems to make sure that you have a source of new clients coming to you all of the time. Next week we'll talk about the profit side of things. So around the financing and the money and the margins and, you know, everything around making sure that you are making a profit, how important that is. But if you would like to comment on this post, if you're watching it or you watch it a bit later, what is your growth journey? Where do you want to go? Have you identified where it is that you want to take your business, and let us know whether it is in growth, whether it is in I just want to just have a job, I want to put some people on. So let us know in the comments below. Love to hear from you and get your feedback, and look forward to presenting another live session next week. Thanks, Deb. See you later.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.